And the stream thing says we're live, so I'm going to assume that that is actually working and that everything is, the bits are flowing out. Our stream is starting soon. Hello, everyone! I am Kronos. Behind the stream is starting screen. With me, I have Dez. Hello,
Hello.
Dez. And we are going to be playing a game in just a moment, but before we begin playing this game, there is some stuff to discuss, which is that
Oh,
we are not returning to Cult of the Lamb for a little bit. We played Cult of the Lamb last week. We are back this week. We are not playing Cult of the Lamb because sometimes you just need to change things up. So we're going to have a short stream trying out a new game tonight, and we're just going to rant about whatever the fuck we feel like talking about for a change, because that's not what we do normally. Normally we are really on topic and focused and not rambling at all.
right. We are known for being laser focused on gaming
And the
because
topics of the day.
we're gamers.
Oh, we're definitely gamers. We
We're
are definitely gamers.
definitely gamers. Yeah.
Tonight, we are going to be playing a game that was on sale this past week for $2.62, which is not like you think, oh wow, that's not a huge sale. That was on Xbox, not on Steam. On Xbox, $2.62 is very, very low priced. You do see 99-cent games occasionally, but it's incredibly rare. So this was as low as games get, and there's a reason for it. The reviews that this game has are appallingly bad. So we're going to find out just how bad really is as we begin to play Fortnite, because the game is so bad, Twitch has no idea
It
what it
doesn't
is.
exist in Twitch. It's not a real game. Yeah.
We are
So we're playing Fortnite.
We're playing Fortnite, but we're really
Yeah.
playing Nirvana Pilot Yume. So,
Okay.
so
Why
what?
does it sound like a sex game?
It is a visual novel. There's probably
Oh,
some romance
okay.
happening here.
All right.
And this is
That's
what brought it to my attention. I mean, obviously the low price is also what brought it to my attention. But I clicked on it.
right.
Oh, $2.62 game. Let's see what this is about. Oh, it's a visual novel,
Uh-huh.
arcade racer. And that's a really weird combination of genres to start with. And then I saw the
Yeah.
rating, and it's one of the worst rated games that I have ever seen. And at this point, I'm kind of hooked. I need to know more about it. So
Oh, they got you. They got you.
they
You're
got
like,
me.
yeah. Is this an I am bread situation?
Is
You
this a man out of the
know?
hands of fate situation?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're going to find out, and I suspect we are going to have a miserable time, but let's have fun while doing it.
Okay. I guess I'll open the Twitch stream.
It would probably help if I read Japanese.
I don't know. I can't see anything. I'm just watching an ad right now.
Okay, I get to choose my language now, finally. Okay, so I'm going to put it in. I can do British, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Italian, or French. We're going to be.
Definitely British.
I actually
would
am
say.
having a really hard time picking an Italian, because if I press right on the D-pad instead of using the stick, you have to turn the volume down, so I can hear that it's very, very loud. I'll get that in just a second. But if I press right, it goes all the way across. If I press left, it goes all the way across. I have to use the thumbstick to get in the middle, which is a weird choice. Usually,
Basically, like a new troop
left
situation.
buttons. All right, not gonna worry about the photosensitive.
Hey,
We
Fine
get
Cat.
into the audio, because holy crap, it's loud.
The Tiny Cat's already sitting in the stream that's gone on too long spot, which is pretty bad because the stream's been going for 3 minutes. So
Well, the menus are not instilling any confidence.
yeah, Tiny Cat's like, these menus look like ass, guys. I'm not gonna lie, they're bad.
The
They're
precision is in fact off the charts and bad.
bad. Yeah. So,
So we have story
yeah.
mode, arcade mode. What else do we have? We've done all the settings. The settings are all audio. Okay, that's your
Okay.
settings.
Uh-huh.
We can look at the credits. Is it one guy? It is more than one guy.
Well, there's
That's
got to
a
be the
little
art guy
disappointing.
and the programmer guy.
But sometimes it's one guy that does both.
I mean, I think there's one example of that, and it was called Stardew Valley. And I think that the rest
Or-
of the time.
Sometimes they'll subcontract some stuff out, but Dust and Elysian Tale was one guy.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, but it's incredibly rare. You're absolutely right. But there are
Well,
some
and
credits
it's
there.
interesting because Dust and Stardew Valley were also both created by people who were teaching themselves how to code as they were
Yeah,
making
it's
the
like,
game.
I have a thing, I want to do it, so we're going to make it happen. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this was so much more than I expected it to be.
This is really actually quite difficult.
There's also something called a relax mode. I have no idea what that's all about. We may find out later. Also in the credits, we have their soundtrack by Retrox. Retrox. The music doesn't suck so far. I mean, if the music's anything to go by, we're in for a good time.
I can't hear it because you didn't share a screen with me, but I assume it's okay.
Yeah, I can share the screen with you. How do I share screen in this? Why?
So you have to go down bottom right, share screen.
Oh, there it is. Okay, share screen, and I'm gonna have to make sure I turn on the audio.
Yes, you do have to check the audio.
Otherwise, it's just pointless.
Off by default, which is actually probably the correct.
I agree. Off by default makes sense, but in this particular case, since it's like the one thing we care about.
Yeah, it's just kind of annoying, for us personally. Okay, now I can hear the music. That's not how I was expecting Yume to be spelled. See, I heard how Yume was spelled just now. That's like...
You heard it. You heard
yeah,
how it
I
was spelled.
definitely thought it would have an I. I mean, I don't know. It's not like I'm a master linguist or anything. As I say on my other show, I speak 0.5 languages and one of them's English. So,
Listen, lady, I speak 2 languages, English and bad English.
So, but anyway, like, speaking of how we're super gamers, the way that I know I'm a super gamer is that I have in my hands, well, not literally. Okay. Now I literally have in my hands a Steam Deck, and it's already it's causing me more confusion than I would think, because I have another device on my desk called a Stream Deck.
Oh no.
So I now have a Steam Deck and a Stream Deck.
Yeah.
And like,
I can understand that confusion.
It's just a lot. It's a lot for me to process right now. So if you were wondering when is the best time to have a Steam Deck delivered to your house, it is not the day after you get your power back on from a hurricane. That is not the best time.
No, that seems correct.
Other times that would have been better before the hurricane, with enough time to put some games on it for said hurricane. I could have really made a dent in my visual novels.
Yeah, this would have been great to have had during that downtime.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Ian was not prepared for you, or you were not quite prepared enough for Ian, or the Steam Valve was not prepared for Ian.
Valve was not prepared for Ian. Well, it's really funny because while Hurricane Ian was literally happening, I got an email from FedEx that they were adjusting my delivery time, and I was like, makes sense. Presumably it needs a signature, and there's a hurricane right now, so I guess I'm getting it later. And then I clicked on the email, and it was like, we're delivering it early. And I was like, are you aware of the situation? Like, FedEx, do you know what's happening right now?
FedEx doesn't give a shit. Who delivers in rain or snow or darkness of night?
Unionized, so we don't care.
Wasn't there some big to-do about how UPS's union was having issues recently?
So UPS, basically what's my understanding with that was that they are not totally in love with their union, and so they're talking to the Teamsters about maybe adding the Teamsters as representation for collective bargaining, like, and having them do some of the heavier lifting and that sort of thing, because technically I think UPS is in like a warehouse union, not like a driving union, but they do, at least a good portion of them do drive trucks as their job.
Yeah.
So I think they're thinking about having 2 unions, and I don't know if they're all going to have 2 unions was the plan, or if the drivers were going to join the Teamsters and the warehouse people were just going to be stuck with the allegedly crappy, could be better union or whatever. I don't know. Because my brother-in-law stopped working there before that was resolved. So,
I mean, honestly, getting out is probably the right choice in most of these things.
Yeah, well, he works at Publix now, which is way less difficult, just like physically, strenuously. Like, not to say that it's easy,
but it probably pays close to as well, and he doesn't have to travel around as much.
Well, and Publix does profit sharing, and he has gotten his first profit sharing check, and it was less than $1 or so, whatever. But he hasn't worked there very long. Like, he has not even worked there.
It accelerates?
Like, it accelerates because some people, like, just went out and got their new cars.
Huh.
So if you stick with it, you know, it adds up over time. And Publix is consistently rated either number 1 or number 2 in its industry for best companies to work for. It's usually them or Wegmans in the number 1 slot, and whichever one of them is not in it, the other one is in number 2. It's kind of like South Korea and Finland on the like world how stupid are your kids test. How they just bounce it back and forth. And then it's just definitely like a Florida company for sure. But it was interesting. We learned a lot about Publix's hurricane preparedness. So all the Publixes have generators that can power anything that is refrigerated or frozen for 48 full hours. So, which is, I guess, kind of like the calculus on usually the power to
Yep.
the businesses are back on in that time.
48 hours is a pretty good guess most of the time.
Yeah,
Or they
'cause
have
they do.
generators that can make things work.
Yeah, and they do prioritize, businesses like,
Hospitals too, I'm sure.
yeah, hospitals obviously are going to be your like um first priority, but hospitals also have robust generators as well. So, in fact, Tampa General, when it looked like Hurricane Ian was headed straight for us, specifically was headed towards Tampa General Hospital. Like it was gonna
It's
go
coming
straight.
right for
It
us.
was, and on its original path before it took its little swerve, and they were trying to figure out what to do with the patients. Like that's how convinced we were going to get a direct hit from this hurricane. Um, and they decided not to evacuate because, they figured that it would be more disruptive to the patients to all have to take ambulance and helicopter rides to another hospital than it would be to stay there. And of course, that ended up being the right decision because we didn't get a direct hit from the hurricane. But also, like like say with Katrina, for example, um we were friends with a woman who was a triage nurse at a New Orleans hospital, and they really delayed getting patients out even then. Like, some of the hospitals had water up to your knees before they were like, okay,
This was a mistake. We're in trouble
we
now.
gotta now we're fucked. We gotta get these people out of here.
It's too late for many of them.
But it's like it's too late. Yeah, exactly. So Um, so yeah, there's calculus, and it's maybe worth talking about when we talk about like equity and resources and stuff, that like you do have to make these kind of really horrible decisions sometimes, that you don't like. It's like, it is extremely disruptive to patients and their healing and their families and whatever to be medevaced out of hospitals, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and so, it's better for them to remain in place, unless in place is going to be under, 3 feet of water. So then it's like, well, there's no way to know for sure which it's going to be. And you really, have to make these tough calls. I mean, I don't, because I'm not the mayor of
Damn it.
Tampa, but
Oh, this is probably why the game is very poorly rated.
this is what I was just about to say. Is that, I mean, fuck whatever the plot of the novel is, because like you can't, like all visual novels have like the one thing you have to do in between like getting plot and stuff. And if the one thing you have to do in between getting plot and stuff is literally like impossible to do. Like I remember when I was playing Honey Pop, again, I have played the entirety of Honey Pop. I have like 100% at Honey Pop. So obviously I have no dignity, but whatever. And mainly I did it because there were people who were trying to like give me feminist theses of Honey Pop, and I was like, okay,
Let's figure
from
this
what
out just in
I was like,
case.
from what I've seen of Honey Pop on the Let's Plays, I'm gonna go with no on that.
But
But
until I
I'll be
play it, we
fair.
get
I'll be fair. I'll be fair. I could put Honey Pop on my Steam Deck because that's the platform I own it on, Steam. But no, I disagree. It's not a feminist masterpiece.
oh, oh,
Sorry.
okay, I made it. I made it. Cool, 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 cool. I'm gonna die now. No, we're okay. We're okay.
But anyway, the thing you do in Honey Pop is like Candy Crush, basically. And so, hey,
And who
buddy.
doesn't love Candy Crush?
And who doesn't love Candy Crush?
All right, well we passed that level.
Um.
Uh oh, that's probably a mistake.
Oh no, you got a Chivo.
What an incredible
Super giant.
experience!
You
I mean,
beat the first track
we
in
died like
story
7
mode.
times.
Congrats to you. I hope they don't get harder.
It was a fair run. I don't know. I don't know if it was a fair
You should
run.
definitely echo her enthusiasm. That's how you get in her pants. Why?
Because I'm not trying to get it in her pants.
I'm pretty sure the point of the game is to pants everyone.
This is why I'm so bad at these games.
Hey Marcel, what you doing, buddy?
Is he going up today?
He went up today. His so basically what has precipitated this is there's a squirrel that thinks it's funny to taunt the cats.
Nah.
And it's been doing it, for months. And both Stormy and Kitty fell in the pool at least one time each, Stormy multiple times, trying to chase the squirrel and like deal with the squirrel. And so, he just like I can see his shadow like scrambling back and forth across the roof of our. In Florida, it's extraordinarily common for people's pools to be inside cages. It's both like an insurance thing and and a convenience thing. So you don't have to clean your pool because the cage keeps leaves out of it. And well, I mean, you have to clean your pool, but you don't have to.
She's like pissed we're not a virgin. What is this game?
Virginity is just a construct. It's not even real. There's no such
I
thing.
didn't know you were intimate. She's so pissed off at us.
Wow, is she slut shaming us right now, or?
Yeah, it's like, oh, you won a race and then went and had sex with your lover? That's disgusting.
I just noticed that we have a scene called "Attempting to Fix the Audio."
Yes.
I just like
That's a long story.
we don't need to tell it right now, but
No, but
it's
it worked. It worked.
it did. Okay, good. You should change it to "fixed the audio," maybe.
Perhaps, but
Um,
that would require fixing the fixing.
yeah.
I will also
Um,
note that our viewership is ticking up and then ticking back down again.
well, right, because
periodically.
people are like Fortnite,
What the
and
fuck
then
is
they're
this
like,
Fortnite game?
they're like,
Oh,
this
that's not
isn't
Fortnite.
I would also be disappointed if I was looking for Fortnite and this is what I got. Um, so yeah, yeah. Anyway, pools are in cages. So, basically, like a steel shell is placed over everyone's pool, and then it's screens in between the steel arms of the shell. So they look like turtle shells, kind of. Um, and they just sit over people's pools. So when I talk about how like the squirrel is running around, that's what he's running on. He's running on the outside of this thing, and then the cats are inside of it.
So we went from being slut shamed for the other thing to like, hey, let's bone now. Like
Yeah,
that was fast.
yeah. I mean, I guess now that she knows you're not a virgin, she's just not going to put in the effort
I mean,
to
it's
romance you. She's just going to be like,
oh,
just casual sex.
you just put out. Can we try that?
I might be in need of a house. Is very concerning. Are we about to get ourselves a roommate accidentally?
I think we are.
She like, oh gosh. Um, so the first time Marcel saw the squirrel, he was like, "Oh, well, I just will climb up the walls and across the roof and hang upside down from the roof and attack the squirrel that way." And so that's what he did, and the squirrel was like, "Holy shit!"
This cat. This is unexpected.
So the squirrel was like, "Abort, abort." so, so that's why he climbs because I sent Kronos a video of Marcel climbing the wall of this shell over the pool. Essentially 2 stories high, is what he is the height or close to. So anyway, so yeah, Marcel is a spider cat. Spider cat.
But the impressive thing is, as I noted in my response, is that Marcel got back down because
Yeah, he
climbing is
climbed.
not super hard on these kinds of things, but
Yeah.
cats especially will climb into places where they get themselves stuck,
Yeah,
and they will get
cats-
themselves down eventually. But they often are like, well, fuck, I've made a bad choice, and meow for half an hour before they get themselves down.
So Marcel has done that, and we did have to rescue him once. Not from that, but he learned from Kitty. So Kitty has a way that she jumps to get on top of the bulkhead over our pantry in our kitchen. So she will jump on the counter, then she'll jump on the fridge, then she'll jump on the top of the cabinets, then she'll run across the top of the cabinets and jump on the bulkhead. And then she just likes to lounge up there. I assume it's very hot, you know, and that's why she likes it, but I have no idea. Maybe she just likes surveillancing us. I don't know. Surveying us. So anyway, Marcel figured out how to do it, and the first time he got up there, she just punched him in the face and he sailed off the bulkhead. And we were like, "No! Have you killed Marcel?" And then Marcel was obviously fine. Because as a kitten, he's made out of rubber.
It's tough to kill a
So,
cat too. I mean,
yeah,
especially with something like that.
it is. In fact, with cats, they have to fall from
At the middle distance
around,
or a
it's like a,
very
yeah, I was
high
gonna say,
distance.
it's like around 2 stories is kind of their worst case, because at 3 stories, they can
They have plenty of time to do the
um,
rotations.
do their rotations. Yeah. And one is like, well, if I don't do my rotation, I'm still not going to die. I'm just going to be,
Ouch.
ouch. So yeah, it's 2 stories is kind of their like where they're not great. So anyway, but then he climbed up there when she wasn't there because he didn't want to die. And then she climbed up after him and trapped him because he was afraid to walk past her, so he couldn't get back to the fridge to get back down. So then he ran to the opposite end of the cabinets because there's cabinets on either side of this bulkhead, and he sat on them and cried. And so we had to get a ladder and climb on top of the cabinet counter so we could climb on the cabinets and then get him down. It was very annoying. But cats are,
We're going deeper this time.
ooh. I mean, this definitely doesn't look sexy. So,
Open yourself to me. Lower your resistance.
mm-hmm,
Relax
mm-hmm.
and breathe evenly. It'll all be over soon.
That's what she said. All right, well, have fun with this new level.
I'm sure it'll be, just as miserable to figure out. But hey, I passed the first one. I can pass the second one. I'm getting a feel for it now.
So, yeah, so we survived the hurricane. Essentially, we've put everything back to normal. We're just waiting on 2 things. We're waiting on, oh God, that didn't go well.
Out of nowhere.
Um, we're waiting on a pool company to come deal with this algae bloom because we have a kind of algae growing right now called mustard algae, which is just like really difficult to kill. It's not something we can kind of
Too
kill
early.
on our own. Yeah, this is going to be one of those where you're going to just have to just learn it and time it out.
Damn it.
Oh. And then we did have a leak inside a closet, basically on the wall where the roof of the first floor meets the sidewall of the second floor. So what we think probably happened is that the wind just drove the water, towards the flashing, under the flashing. I don't think there's really like a roof leak per se, but water filled up enough that the drywall cracked and it unleashed a torrent of water onto the clothes that were in the closet. And now there's molded, cracked drywall in the ceiling. And in Florida,
That is not
um,
okay.
you have to, I mean, most Florida leases have really strict verbiage around
What the hell am I supposed
your
to do? I was.
your responsibilities with leaks. Wow, I don't know how you get over there. They
Yeah, I
don't,
mean,
it
I was.
doesn't seem like there's like enough time.
I mean, I kind of not be in that lane is what it comes down to. I think.
Yeah.
Not like. Ooh, come on. Well, we'll get another shot, I guess. Maybe I have to pass. There's no fail state, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, well we found out. There's the fail state. There's the fail state.
Wow. No, passion actually exacerbates lack of precision. For sure. Maybe you can't pass. All right. So we have to have, they're going to send someone else to deal with that. Obviously, it's going to take a long time for either of these things to be dealt with. But in the meantime, we're all good. I also, when you're making a choice for dialogue, I think that doesn't need to be pixelated. I'm just that's
I
just
mean, there's a
my
lot of little things, obviously, that are not great. Let's focus on the big things. The music is completely gone. Like
yeah, it
it
is.
was there in the menus, and it's now gone. That was like the best part.
Well, they could probably only afford so much, you know. So while had I had the internet, of course, through 5G on my phone. But we were trying not to use our phones so much because power was a scarce commodity. So one of the things with the hurricane areas where I'd say we were over prepared, where we like had an abundance that was not utilized and we would have to be in like a very dire situation for it to have been necessary would be like a Katrina-esque, like your city's just done, you know. Um, Water, we were way over prepared with water. Um, Food that didn't require, food that could be cooked either on a gas grill or didn't require cooking. We have tons of it still.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then and then like lighting. So we like in terms of like lanterns and flashlights and that sort of thing, we had more than we needed. We never ran down the battery on a single one of them because we had so many of them that we were able to move around and such. And that brings me to batteries, which is another category where we have way, way too many. Like, we have so many batteries that when I went around the house and collected all the batteries,
You have
I
access of
was
the excess.
I was like, well, this is outrageous. We need some kind of battery storage. So when I was at Costco today, there was something called a battery
What the?
daddy. And I was like, I'm just gonna get two battery daddies just in case because I don't think this battery daddy has enough room for my D batteries specifically because we have one lantern that takes 8D batteries. That's a tremendous amount of D batteries. That's how many batteries one battery daddy stores. So,
Okay, so
and
that
I don't
doesn't
want the
work.
batteries to be stored in the lantern because
That's just bad for oh,
it's just
corrosion.
not good. Corrosion, it could, all of that. So I was like, so I'm gonna have 8 batteries from that are gonna come out of that lantern plus the batteries that didn't go in the lantern in the first place. So I was like, I'm gonna get 2 battery daddies. It's excessive. One of them's gonna be almost empty. Aha! I have batteries left over after filling 2 battery daddies.
That's
So
a lot of batteries.
it's an insane amount of batteries. It's terrible. It's terrible. Um, so I refuse to get a third battery daddy. That is just no. It's just no. So I was able to get as many battery daddies into the two that or get as many batteries into the battery daddies I had. I took the best, well, not the, I took the best batteries. I put them in a container. Oh no, now you have 2 achievements.
Outrageous juvenile. The fact that it's juvenile makes this worse.
It made it weirder. It did make it weirder. It did. Yeah. So, and then the worst part is I was unaware of exactly how many AA batteries we had. So because a box that was like 50 AA batteries, I thought was like 18C batteries because they looked exactly the same because they were Amazon Basics.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't know who bought Amazon Basics AA batteries in this house because for batteries that like are cheap, like I don't want to spend money on them, Maxell is much better than Amazon Basics, like for penny per kilowatt hour or whatever, you know, um, they're just a better bang for your buck. They don't last as long as Amazon Basics, but they're so inexpensive compared to them. And also it's not Amazon. So Maxell is kind of the cheap battery we use. So I don't even know where these came from. Like I just like literally have no idea how they got in the house.
Did
And
you just see that?
that you were called an old man.
Well, no. I mean, yes, I am an old man, but no. She like the costume glitched.
Oh, I did not see the costume glitch. Was she briefly naked?
No. She was briefly in the other outfit.
Oh.
Briefly being naked be like, oh, that's a plot point or something.
I was gonna say, like, are we sure it's a glitch? Like, is it a feature perhaps and not a bug? Um, so yeah, we have way too many batteries. I don't know what to do about it though. I mean, it's not like people are gonna want to buy my secondhand batteries. So the other thing is I periodically do look up like the ratings for batteries because there's a bunch of battery nerds on the internet that will test the ever living shit out of batteries and compare their like power to their price point or whatever. Duracell pretty much always wins, but Kirkland came in so close to Duracell that I suspect they're made by Duracell. That's what I suspect. I suspect they're white branded Duracells on the most recent tests. And the reason I suspect this is,
Hey, Ren,
hey,
no
baby
problem.
Ren,
That's
nice to
totally
meet you.
fine. Welcome back.
Not nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Sorry about that. We're not playing Fortnite because this game we're playing doesn't exist because it's that bad.
Steam
So,
said, not Steam. Twitch doesn't know what this game is, so it can't. It does not allow me to select it from the drop down, and it insists I put a game. Hence, Fortnite. Oh,
Fortnite.
construction is
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
rough.
Construction is
A
rough.
lot of long hours, especially during the summer when we got to get all those projects done. My grandfather
Yeah.
did a lot of construction and did it in the winter too because he would be farming during the summer hour. So the winter was when he could make the extra money doing that kind of stuff. It's hard work. It's very hard work. A lot of long hours. I'm gonna have to do another racing section soon. I can feel it.
Well, so while I was being hurricaned, like the gaming people went nuts. So GTA 6, that massive hack,
Yeah,
by the time
a
I
lot of
even
it was
heard it had
leaked.
happened, the guy had already been arrested.
What? He got arrested?
He got arrested.
I did
Yeah.
not know about this.
Well, and that I read that allegedly he sold the source code for GTA 5 before he was arrested. So it's just in the wind now. It's just out there. So now I don't know. Allegedly, who knows if it's true? But yeah, he was arrested. Um, apparently there was something weird with the police or something.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
this is a weird crime for the police to be involved in overall.
Yeah. I mean, I guess hacking is like a for real crime. And this is corporate espionage, intellectual property theft.
Yeah,
These are big
these are
crimes
serious
for
crimes.
rich
This is
people.
well,
So,
people who wanted to be rich.
mhm. So yeah, I did hear that he was arrested, and I did,
Ooh,
or did
okay,
read he was
okay. That's
arrested, and
fine.
I
That's
did
fine.
read that before he was arrested. I mean, I'm using he in the
Damn it!
he, she, they. I have no idea.
This
Um,
game needs like checkpoints or something. That was terrible.
but yeah, this is for a game that's not going to be out until 2024. So, pre-alpha leaks. So yeah. So that was a huge leak. And so people were just complaining about how bad the graphics were, and I was like,
That's the worst. That's a stupid complaint.
it's just, of course they're bad. I mean, that's probably one of the last things to get polished.
Yes.
So, so the leaks are real, but the final production is going to be different from everything you've seen. No shit. This is just what they build. So, okay. So that happened while I was being hurricaned. And then the other thing that happened when I was being hurricaned
Damn it.
that I knew about, it was a 19-year-old dude. Okay.
Man, everyone's so young now.
Oh, he
What
tried to
happened?
ransom the code. Wow, that probably made
That makes it a little easier to find you.
that makes it bad too.
I've only won 2 races. The tutorial race, which I don't know if I can even say I won that, and the first race, and that was mostly luck. This is a ugh ugh. This is not great. Our story is a bit complicated. I don't know. It seems pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah, at 19, I don't think I would have known how to ransom something without also getting myself caught. So,
When I was 19, Office Space came out, and I learned about trying to learn about
yeah.
money laundering. That's
Yeah.
what I was doing at 19.
Um Yeah, Googling how do I launder money. Um,
Look, I didn't sell
all
cocaine on the streets. It's just a good story to sell magazines.
it's I mean mostly the information I've learned about money laundering in terms of like useful money laundering has been from like organized crime media, you know. Because you have the like low tech way of doing it that the Italian mafia preferred, which was, you know, protect bars, heavy cash businesses, restaurants, that kind of thing. Except that the government gets wise to that because it's like your bar does how much business a year? What?
I'll Dane, I am Yume. Yes, we know your name. You've been in our house for like 2 days now.
Look, maybe consent is really important to you to Yumi. Okay? You know, and you're not very enthusiastic,
I'm
so
definitely not very enthusiastic.
anyway, that was wild, but I also found out that people are pissed not just because the graphics are bad, but it looks like at least one protagonist might be a woman. So that's
How
gonna
dare
that's
they?
gonna ruin everything. It's gonna throw the whole vibe off.
Well, I honestly think that will probably blow ever just fine, but be less meaningful than the thing that I'm upset about with the big video game publishers these days, which no one else seems to be upset about.
Yeah. So Kronos is upset because you can't play Overwatch
Two, you can't
anymore.
play Overwatch. Well, you can't play Overwatch at all anymore. But if you
Okay.
want to play Overwatch 2, which they're
Two.
replacing it with, then you need to have a phone number on file with Blizzard so they can text you to verify that you actually have that phone number and it's
Well,
linked to your account.
when I tried to delete my Blizzard account, um, they were like, you have to send us a photo of your driver's license. And I was like, do you know that it's illegal in almost every state to make any reproduction of a driver's license? Like in almost every state in the country. Um, and they were like, well, you still have to. And I was just like, or else you can't delete it, you know. And of course, I don't have a constitutional right to have my Blizzard account deleted, I guess. So I just was like, all
Well,
right,
that was
fine.
before GDPR, though, right?
That was actually maybe now it would be less annoying. I don't know. Maybe I'll try again later. The only thing I've ever bought with the only reason I have a Blizzard account is so infuriating is because I bought my partner
Oh,
Diablo
jeez!
3, 2, 3.
This was unexpected. I
Oh
mean, it
dear.
wasn't all that unexpected, but
I want to feel you in a physical way.
I mean, the escalation here was intense. Is what my point was.
Maybe this will be like in Demolition Man. We're just gonna put on hats
Yes, please,
and
please, please. No, you don't even know what this is.
wait. We've only been friends for like 2 days.
She has some serious trauma, I'm guessing.
I don't know.
Yep.
Uh,
I can't resist any longer. I beg to
you
differ.
have absolutely no willpower whatsoever. Your character is a oh oh dear.
What is this shit?
I will say this is less pornographic than Honey Pop, so I guess that had an adult rating.
This is what sex looks like.
This yeah, this is exactly what sex looks like, kids. You just blow hearts at each other.
The depletion saved us, so I can't. She fell asleep, and therefore I can't continue. Phew.
Do we know the type of risk that a sexual? I mean, I'm not sure we do.
Well, we apparently killed our former lover by doing it. So
I know, but like how quickly we folded does not seem to indicate that we really do know. Like we have not really internalized this message. I don't think. So then also Stadia closed, and
oh, good
I
riddance.
I knew Stadia closed because Stadia emailed me that they were closing, and I was like, oh right, I do have a Stadia account. And then in the email they said if you have a Stadia Founder or a Stadia Pro or a Stadia whatever hardware, then you can get a refund if you got your hardware from the Google Store. And I was like, actually, I think I did.
I think you did too.
So I looked it up and was $99 for the pack that I had. Except Google gave me a $99 discount, and I was like, oh right, it was free. So I'm not getting any money back, or I'm getting 100% of the money I spent on it back. But yeah, I did have Stadia. Now, Stadia is a service that when they announced it, I argued that it made no sense whatsoever. And that even if there was a type of person that could actually, like, it would be the most economical way for them to play a game, that I just didn't think there were enough of them for it to make sense. And then Google offered me a free Stadia founder pack or something like that. It was basically a Google Chromecast Ultra and a Stadia controller, and then free Stadia Pro for a certain amount of time. And I was like, sure, whatever, I don't care. I'll take a free Chromecast. So now, and so I did actually. We did play a Stadia game
Apparently, I hit something.
on this stream. It was that Resident Evil game,
Yeah.
the Lovecraft one with the whatever. So we
What
did
is killing
use
me?
it. I don't know, but why does the screen need to be like this?
Because
Is a question
I'm
I
losing
have.
connection. I have no idea what I'm hitting and dying on. Like, it seems like I'm fine. Okay, I can maybe only be on this for a couple of seconds. Okay, I'm heating up. I'm heating up. That's the problem. Okay.
So maybe you need to go to the blue thing in the middle.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yay. Oh, wow.
God, this game's...
Wow.
Well, we knew it was bad. This game is bad, though. This game is bad. And it's the story is bad. The
Yes.
gameplay is worse.
Yeah. So it's like you have to get through this terrible gameplay to get bad story. That's not funny, and it's not particularly sexy either. So
And it's
like,
super not engaging.
yeah,
What's the story even about?
like we definitely had more fun with like that roommates game we played.
Yes, roommates was way more fun.
Roommates was way more fun, and all we did was like talk to people in our apartment and then work on our class schedule. But it was still more fun to work on our class schedule than it was to try and beat these racing levels. Yeah, so we did try Stadia, and after having tried it, it was even more clear to me that it was pointless. And it seems clear to Google that it was pointless.
It is very clearly pointless. I was on board with Stadia at one point where I was like, this could be pretty awesome. When I thought that they would be using it to build up the network, to test things out, and they would be using it as a loss leader for like a decade and getting a bunch of market share with
As
people playing games on their televisions.
Netflix for games.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then none of that happened. And they're like, no, in actuality, it's practically full price on hardware. It is full price on the software, which is a huge mistake. Yeah. And then it also has all of these other issues. And it's like,
there was no like they were never able to articulate why this is better than just having an Xbox, a PC, or a PlayStation, right? So like there was no reason, because even money wise, Stadia Pro costs so much money that that kind of washed out, unless you were just gonna have like Stadia Pro for a month when you're like the new game that you really like comes out, and then you turn it off, and then you don't do anything for 4 months until the next game comes out. I mean, I guess at that point it could be more economical than owning a console, but we did the math on it, and if you're a regular gamer of any kind, it's just not. It just was never going to be. Now, we're not regular gamers. Like, I recognize that. I think most people have like a handful of games that they really like, and Steam libraries seem to bear this out as well. The vast majority of gamers have like a couple franchises they really like, and then that's that. And the like people who play like tons and tons of games and have hundreds of games is a really small minority. I'm like, I think now I can say that I pretty much have every console, because I now have the Steam Deck. So I have the PlayStation, the Xbox.
Well, you can't be that
Switch.
old.
No. I don't, because I don't have the new Switch. I don't know if I'm going to count
Lite
that,
2
though.
or whatever it is.
The LED Switch.
Yeah, but it's basically it's not even really an upgrade.
No, it's just a slightly better screen. It's not worth. I mean, if your Switch broke, I would
Yeah, obviously you can
recommend
upgrade
you would
that,
get
but
the one with the slightly nicer screen. But if there's nothing wrong with your Switch,
don't
it's
move
just
on
like
it.
what are you
So we love Celeste. We killed Celeste.
Yeah.
But sometimes this girl that we were also in school with, we thought about her. So when we were
Well,
banging
not just
Celeste,
that.
sometimes we thought about Mai.
Irresistible too. The message I'm getting about us is that we
We,
have
we
no control
we were
over
a horn
ourselves.
dog in the worst way.
We might be a rapist. I'm just gonna toss out there. We could find out some very uncomfortable
Which,
things about
considering that our
ourselves.
entire job here is to mentally plunge ourselves into these female pilots, to control them and to guide them through the race, which we're really fucking bad at.
Yeah, we're really bad at it.
We are
Like
so bad.
they could do just as well, just like closing their eyes and hoping for the best. So this kind of reminds me of there's a book, Iron Widow. It's going to be made into either a TV show or a movie, but it's like a kaiju, not a kaiju. Well, maybe they fight kaijus. I don't know. They're in Gundams, so basically, it's kind of often pitched as like
So it's a mecha
Pacific
fight.
Rim. It's like a mecha fight thing, yeah. And there's like
You're as old
there's
as I am.
there's two pilots. Oh, so now we have to deal with the person that we can't keep it in our pants over.
Both of them. We can't keep it in our pants with either one of them.
Maybe we'll do just a can we thruple, and then maybe that'll just be
Then I actually can race. Like suddenly,
yeah.
I'm good at the game.
Yeah, so in Iron Widow, there's two pilots, one's a man and one's a woman, and the reason why is because something about the process like takes chi from one of the pilots, and so the woman is literally just there to be absorbed. Um, and it's a misogynist society, obviously. And so I think the plot of the first book in the series is the sister of someone who got absorbed by a male pilot is going to join the program for revenge reasons.
I'm going to complain about this plot for a second.
Okay. Wait,
So
which plot?
our plot,
Iron.
the
Okay,
Yume
that's
plot,
fine.
Yumi's plot. So Mai shows up and we're
Uh-huh.
surprised,
Uh-huh.
and we're like, "Hey, we're glad you came because we really had the hot for you way back when." And she's like, "Yeah, you could have just called me at any point." Plot advances like 20 screens later, and we have called her specifically so she can fix the machine that does the whole interconnectivity between our brains thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what? Anyway, continue with other plot because this
No,
one
I think
sucks.
that's pretty much it. But
It's
anyway,
better than this.
this game is kind of reminding me of that because basically, why do we need two pilots? Why can't the women be pilots? It feels misogynistic.
Here's an ass. Just here you go.
Wait, are we a woman?
No, we are a man.
We're definitely a man.
We're definitely a man. I can't say we're definitely a man. We've been gendered as a man a couple of times,
Okay.
and the implications are there.
The other characters at least seem to think that we're a man.
It seems like it, yes.
So yeah. Okay. Great. 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 Great.
Just piling onto that whole rapist theme of yours.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not getting better.
It's not.
So anyway, so yeah, Iron Widow's gonna be probably a movie. It sounds more like a TV show with mechas would be super expensive.
Movies
I
with
guess
mechas tend not to be make very much money though. So maybe if they found some way to do a TV show with mechas on the cheap, like I've been rewatching Babylon 5 and I love Babylon 5, so I go back to it periodically, and it's not the best computer animation, but it came at a time when computer animation was really brand spanking new, and part of the problem is that people have been so spoiled with computer animation that they're like, yeah, hey, it's photorealistic. But some of the techniques that they're using this allow it to continue to look good, although it's not amazing, even to this day, 25 years later. So if you just cut some corners and do some creative art directing, cheap animation can look really good. And even with something like mechas, I think you can make that work. Like the what's the guy's name? He passed away unfortunately just a couple years ago. He did Ruby, RWBY.
Oh yeah.
So that was based on a style of fight choreography and animation where this is not going to be super high quality animation, and it's going to be short stuff. And he just like takes sprites and is like, okay, I can move the arms and legs, and I know what's going to make a cool looking fight. It doesn't have to be amazing. You just have to choreograph it in the way that makes it exciting.
So I've never heard of the picture company that is adapting Iron Widow. Picture Start or Pictures? No, it's not Pictures Art. It's definitely Picture Start. So Picture Start, and I'm looking at their projects, and they're adapting Strays, the comic book series Strays, which is a super adult dogs, cats doing super adult things.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so there's this comic book series called Strays. Oh, they're also financing the Borderlands movie. I wonder if this is then somehow related, because I know Avi and Ari Arad were involved in that project at some point. I wonder if they have something to do with this. In which case they might actually come out with some good stuff. All of their stuff is pretty much in production. So like there's nothing here that could already be like I don't think there's anything done already. Um so oh, here we go.
Why don't you stay?
I know
After
what
the
you did last
training, we
summer.
could.
Oh wow, that was so bad.
I don't like to be the third. Maybe another time.
Wow, this is basically the plot of Iron Widow. Um The Spy Who Dumped Me, which was actually funnier than it had any right to be. Not that I thought it was amazing. A Simple Favor. I saw that. It was fine. I thought it was mostly paid for by Aviation Gin. Um,
That's Ryan Reynolds.
yeah. It stars Blake Lively.
That's his wife.
Yes.
Damn, I'm good. I'm on fire tonight.
You're on fire. Anyway, I already stopped caring about that, so I'm moving on. I want to talk about So Expensive, which is this YouTube series that Insider does, where they talk about things that are really expensive and they explain
How am I
why
supposed to get out of that?
they're so. I think you have to go to the right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just whatever.
Why they're so expensive. And I watched one on sea monsters. So it was some kind of eel it was Japanese sea monsters. No, not only Japanese sea monsters, there were other ones. But most of these sea monsters were really popular food items in Japan. There was also one on kimonos, so I think someone from Insider just wanted to go on a trip to Japan and
Seems
like took
reasonable.
a little hired a little film crew when they got there, and then they were like, "Woohoo! My Japan trip was paid for." So you should have gone lefter. And so they were talking about how the Japanese make eels. They eat, the eels they eat, and I guess like they farm them, except that they don't hatch well in captivity, so they have to catch them when they're super babies and then corral them into these farms and then feed them until they're fat and they sell
So it's
them.
like foie gras.
Yeah, kind of. Only
Not
and
quite as bad, obviously, but
not quite as bad because they're not like literally being force fed, but um
ooh,
it's very similar where they're taken out of their natural habitat, fed an unnatural diet, and
kept in
um
ways that is harmful to the long-term health, even if we weren't going to kill them.
right. And then it turns out that there is a dwindling population of the babies, so they're finding fewer and fewer babies every year. So the price of eel goes up and up and up and up and up and up, and that's why they're so expensive. Okay, fine. And then they did sea urchins and why sea urchins are so expensive. And I thought the answer was going to be something like, climate change and they're dying on reefs and stuff, but that is not the answer. Because apparently they will survive the apocalypse. They, as far as I could tell, are like the cockroach of the ocean. But the kelp that they eat, not so much. So the kelp that they eat is like dead. So there's no food for them. But the problem is that sea urchins can like nap for 2 years if they run out of food. So like they don't die. They just like live forever. So what happens is but what they do as they're like in hibernation is they eat their own gonads, which is the part of the sea urchin that
Wow.
people eat. That's the part people eat, right?
They eat their own, and then we eat that. Okay,
So
okay, cool, cool.
okay, but the thing is that the problem with sea urchin fishing is a lot of them don't have gonads anymore
Because they've all been taken off.
because they ate their gonads because they ran out of kelp. So I'm just not going to eat sea urchin anymore. Like I was kind of okay eating their balls before I realized that they also eat their balls, and
I don't know that that's making it better.
and that their balls like they need their I don't know. It's something about watching this made sea urchins very weird for me. So I don't know. It put it all in perspective for me somehow. I don't know. I was like, I don't know about this. And then there was a weird sea monster I'd never heard of before called a gooseneck something. Snail, clam, barnacle, gooseneck barnacle. And they're so expensive because they have to be harvested at low tide by a person. So
we are such a dick. Oh my god.
Why are we like this? We are definitely a rapist. It's definitely it's 100%. 100%.
I don't think this is accurate.
Whew. The plot is very convoluted, but also somehow overly simplistic and nonsensical.
Yes,
Like
it's all
just
three of those things at once.
all
It's
three of them
incredible.
at once, which is really you would think that would be hard to do.
It's what we asked for. We asked for a bad game that was so bad that it might be good. And obviously that's not this, but this is it's on a special level of this is not good.
I also don't think desire, craving, and fear are all the same thing. In fact, desire and fear are like probably opposites. So, hey babes, how are you? You want to play a game? You want to play a game? Marcel is getting so big. He's going to be so huge. Like,
Big cat.
he's going to be like 15 pounds. Easy.
Good sized cat.
Yeah.
Okay, time to die. At least we only have 40% to go through. Because the better I do at the game, the better I do at the game, and the longer I have until I start dying in these things. It's like, I'm down at 30% already. I can't even see anymore.
So, this So Expensive show ruined a lot of sea monsters for me because the fourth sea monster that they did was stone crab claws or stone crabs. And what really upset me about the stone crabs was I knew how they were I thought I knew how they were harvested, which is they pull them out of the water, they rip off their crusher arm, and then they throw them back in the water.
Yikes.
And that they can survive with their non-crusher arm because their non-crusher arm, their pinching arm, is also incredibly strong in order to hold on to larger things because the crushing arm has like 9,000 psi or something like crazy like that, right? So they can actually crush and kill quite large animals with like thick shells and things. And so they can still survive with their not crushing arm, and their crushing arm grows back when harvested properly. So I was like, it's mean, but I guess it's better than killing them. I mean, we'd have to ask them.
You presence. I mean, why am I complaining about a little typo like that? But I am. You presence in the city is barely tolerated, citizen.
Anselm is just mad because he used to be the only rapist in town, and now
well, I think we used to be the only rapist in town, but he's like, I can't follow in your footsteps. You're just better at it than me.
Oh. So, anyway,
Plus, he's a politician. So,
yeah.
Of course he's a rapist.
He just sucks, basically. His name is Anselm, so we should provoke him.
Anselm
or remain
or
silent.
Army?
That's
which one's worse?
Remaining silent and refusing to engage is... I would provoke him. Who cares? This is how dudes fight, Shut up. Your hopes are soon to be crushed forever. I doubt it.
Apparently, my hopes are to
So,
rape, so I don't think you can stop me.
yeah. We might have seemed calm, but we know how powerful the
It's
Jagasit
not
are.
long before the exam. Only a few
Yeah.
days left. Oh, God, how long is this game? A few days?
Or
It's
we're
been
gonna
like 3
fail
days.
anyway. Excuse me. So anyway, I found out if their claws are both over 2 7/8 inches, they can harvest both their claws. And I was like, wait a minute, guys. The whole point was we don't need to kill them because they can still eat and they can regrow their arm, and so then they're not overfished, you know? But if they don't have any arms, how could they eat? And so it turns out that a study has been done on this, and I know this is going to blow your mind,
It
but
is, in fact, a lie.
over 80% of the ones that are thrown back with no arms die. So, and I was like, those other 15% are not alive. They're just missing. They just don't know what happened to them. Or they're like super hardcore. So now stone crabs have been ruined. So basically, I'm not
Or
eating.
just eat the whole damn crab.
Well, and we come
But you
from a
can't, right?
place.
You can't. He's like,
The problem is, I think, because they grow really slowly, if we ate the whole crab, overfishing might be even more accelerated than it already is. I think we should just stop chopping off both their arms. You should just not be allowed to remove the pincher arm. You can only remove the crusher arm. And then I also found out the crusher arm can only grow back if the joint is still there, and if they're not careful when they rip their arms off,
and of course they're not
then
being careful because
of
this
course
is
they're not.
money.
They're being as fast as possible. They're doing it as quickly as possible. So anyway, so I was like, well, this is horrible. So now I can't use stone crab claws anymore, which is, I mean, they're really expensive. So it's not like I was doing it on a regular basis. I've done it 3 times in my life. So I guess we'll just have to sit at 3. So, but yeah, and then they were interviewing the restaurant owners who were like, yeah, they just can't get enough crabs. Like, and I'm like,
Come
oh, so
on.
we're overfishing them still, even with all these guardrails put in place, they're still being overfished.
I did so well that first one. Now I want to win.
Oh, wow. You died right as you said the word win. It was really good.
The
It's like
timing.
great, really excellent timing.
I can't see anything.
I think you just nudged the wall.
Yep, the nudge the wall to death.
So, yeah. So anyway, the show's so expensive. That episode I don't recommend because it's just sea monsters being tortured. However, they have one on kimonos and why kimonos are so expensive. And I assumed going into it that the answer was going to be the materials are expensive, the labor is highly skilled, it takes tons of hours from artisans. That's why it's expensive. And guess what? That's the answer. So,
Explain her.
turns
I'm
out
going to mansplain you.
hand painted, hand embroidered silk is expensive. Our Nirvana sync is poor. Yeah, it is actually. I blame you for
We've
that.
sucked
As
at
the
this game
woman,
so much.
I blame you. Um, we can fight it. I mean, but what if we just don't fight it? Can we just? What? We're gonna go in a coma. Oh, hey, that reminds me of the football player Tua in the
Tua.
news.
Yeah,
Tua,
not
yeah.
Teo, who sent me about it. It was like, what?
I know, so weird. Well, when I heard about Tua and his concussion. By the way, the NFL, honestly, if they cannot get themselves together over this issue,
They cannot. They're done. I mean,
they got to be done. They got to be
they've
done.
got to be done at this
Yeah,
point.
they've got
And
to be done. They've got to be done. When the UFC is doing better than you on this issue, you're done. You're done. I'm sorry. Like, it just really is a bad look. I mean,
it
it's
was
a
an
human rights
incredibly bad
violation.
look.
It's awful. Like, and they're like, well, he wanted it. And it's like, you have to protect them from themselves because you have set up a compensation system where, of course, they're going to want it, So, like, you set up the system where, I mean, whatever. fuck them. The NFL's got to be done. It just is. It's terrible. Like they think he has a brainstem injury
Yeah, I mean,
now.
I would be surprised one if he ever plays football again, and he was doing some pretty impressive things this season until all these injuries, which is not a long season except for especially with those injuries. But he may not be able to do like a lot of stuff anymore.
Yeah, like he may his life may be over. Like someone said he'll remember this game forever about because the game he played where he got the first concussion was so like I guess an electric exciting game or whatever. And it's like yeah, as the game that ended his life as he knew it. Like I mean, you know, apparently Tom Brady has made comments about
And apparently, Brady's getting divorced. Yikes!
yeah.
I wonder what I mean.
Oh, wow, Tom Brady. You could have just said nothing, man. You could have just said
That is always a choice.
nothing. Why
What
say
did he
this?
say? What bullshit did he
Concussions
say?
are a part of contact sports. I watch
Yes.
boxing and I watch UFC. People are knocked out quite a bit. That first of all, don't even compare the NFL to boxing and UFC. People in boxing and UFC are much more aware of the danger to themselves. And their concussions are managed much better. So, like, and they still like with that it's like I am taking my life in my hands and I understand that, and so whatever. Anyways, people are knocked out quite a bit. That's part of playing these very physical sports. All of them come with risks, and I think when you're an athlete that chooses to do that, you got to understand that that's part of it, just like you can injure other parts of your body as well. Look, no one is saying that football has to be made safe. However, like rugby doesn't have these problems to the same extent. There are injuries, but they're not like on this level. And again, with UFC, yeah, if you do boxing or UFC long enough, you're going to end up with the same kind of issues with concussion and like ALS and all the rest. That football players do, but football players get them after much shorter periods of time. So football is more dangerous than boxing or UFC. So it's literally more dangerous than sports where you get punched and kicked in the face repeatedly. So, and I think it's specifically for these linemen, like for a quarterback to be this injured is actually
Pretty unusual because quarterbacks are
pretty
protected,
unusual.
especially, and they don't.
Yeah.
The hits they take can be very violent, but they're not taking hits all the time. The linemen take hits every single play,
Yeah. So the
like the force
linemen
of a car crash, a hard car crash,
over and
every
over and
play.
over again. Yeah, so it's the linemen that have careers of just a few years, and they have horrific side effects for the rest of their lives, and they're not compensated the same way that quarterbacks are either.
Some of
And
them
I
make very good money, not quarterback level money, but the
yeah,
best linemen make very very good money because offensive linemen, is in particular, the tackles and the defensive tackles and ends can make very good money. But that doesn't compensate. Nothing compensates you for the fact that you're throwing your entire life away on some of these things. Like,
well,
sure, you may not die on the field. That doesn't happen. But you look at the history of the chronic
the chronic brain injury.
right, the
Yeah.
repeated brain injuries.
Yeah.
Someone like Junior Seau, and his suicide as a result of this,
Yes.
and the repeated
Hmm.
suicides of many of these people, where they are intentionally shooting themselves in the chest, not a way that
Or
you
like
normally commit suicide, so that the brain can still be studied in the autopsy. You're like, oh yeah,
yeah,
no, this was CTE.
yeah. And like and they get ALS and at a rate astronomically higher than like, you know, the general population. So of course, it's known that it has something to do with their repeated traumatic brain injuries, right? Like, but speaking of linemen, just really quick, um, the house I live in, the person who lived in it before me was a buck. And we get some of his mail sometimes, which I do always forward because I'm a good person, although it's tempting. Um, so it's tempting, all right.
Could be a
And
game check in there. Who knows?
my my sister was like, you would think a buccaneer would be able to have a nicer house, and I was like, well, I mean, he could just be like a lineman, like he's not, he's not everyone is making Tom Brady money, right? Um, and my brother-in-law was like, actually, he's a lineman. He's a really good one. So he's from Southern Mississippi, was his school. His defensive lineman, I don't know what these numbers mean. What is... Oh, I get it. Okay. What is EXP? Is that literally years of experience?
Probably, yes.
Okay, so he's got 8 years of experience. He's 6'2", he weighs 307 pounds, and he's 29. So by now, probably his knees are fucked, his hips are fucked, maybe his brain is fucked, like, and he had a house in the suburbs. Like, it's not like that's not a mansion, okay? It's a large house, all right, I'll grant you, but it's not in the nicest neighborhood, and it's not the nicest house in the neighborhood. But anyway, so yeah, this is like the whole conversation about the concussion issue has been raised again because it's clear that they are not going to do anything about it. And I guess, like, there are other sports where if you're suspected of having a concussion, you have to wait 2 weeks before you can play again or be in a fight or whatever.
Yes, that's a standard protocol.
It's a standard thing in so many contact sports. So, and they were like, well, there was no evidence of brain injury, and it's like, I don't think that's how it works.
That is not the definition we're trying to use here.
Yeah, like, it's like, in other words, if we know that the secondary impact syndrome is the real killer, okay, which is I already have a concussion, have had a concussion within the last 2 weeks, now I have another concussion, now I'm totally fucked, which is what appears to be the case here. Like, then that 2-week thing has got to be... And I remember when they got raked over the coals over this thing the last time, they were all supposed to have helmets that were going to check, like, impact PSI, and if it got too high, their helmet would have a light on it so the other players could know they had to be tapped out, like, whatever. And none of that ever happened. Which is, like, they were never that serious, right? They just want to keep doing what they want to keep doing. But this is what I don't get about Capital sometimes.
It's all about it's the immediate profit. They don't care about long term.
Doesn't get shut down.
They don't care about long term. They want immediate money.
It's so fucking dumb. I mean, it's so fucking dumb.
Back escape. Turn on the engine's pause menu. Pause menu. No.
So Bill Belichick has also weighed in on this.
Of course.
And by the way, Tom Brady can talk. He does not appear to have a traumatic brain injury, or if he has had them, he doesn't appear to be currently suffering from them. And also, when I found out he was a dolphin, I was like, a dolphin? I mean, we don't need to be beating up dolphins. They're never going to go anywhere. Like, we don't have to.
They were, they were
undefeated.
The only undefeated team.
They're
not going anywhere anymore, which is the point.
I understand they were undefeated until this, but they're still the Dolphins. They can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory very easily.
And they have.
Let's see what Bill Belichick has to say. He says that he has repeatedly had to intervene after the medical decision had been made because he didn't believe a player was fit to play. And now this is something else I learned, is that the people who do this medical stuff are all independent contractors. So,
which is supposed to help.
You would think, but then I wonder if it's just easier to bribe them or whatever. So, yeah, he said, I've had to do it before. If I see a player that's not functioning properly or for some reason it hasn't been identified as a brain injury, then absolutely I have done that. I would not say recently, but those are things that have definitely happened at points in my career. Yeah.
Damn it, so hard to do. The view is bad. Everything is bad. Everything is bad. I don't know how to make this game better. I mean, not playing it.
Yeah.
Is there any takeaway from this where this game has something interesting? Like,
No, actually, if this game were a book, I would definitely rate it 1 star.
This is a DNF.
Yeah, it would be a DNF. It would be, this is so bad I cannot continue. 1 star. No one should read this. There's no redeeming value. There's no entertainment value. Not even so bad it's good. Now the music is back.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the settings turned it all the way down. So I turn it back on. And this cycle background music, it's not background music. It's actually literally just background. It cycles this. Because that's
so
important.
Belichick is saying.
What is Belichick saying? I can't hear you now, Des. Well, that seems like a very fitting end to a really bad game. We will be back with something better next week. I promise. It can't be this bad. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you then. It literally could not be worse. It was pretty bad.
All right. Well, I don't know if you can hear me at all.
I can hear you now.
Oh, well, Belichick's just saying that on his team, they make the players go through a coaching clearance after medical has cleared them to play, where they see if they're actually ready to play football, like fit for football, and they do a secondary evaluation on every player who's injured like this. Which also brings up the question of where the fuck was the coach? Because he cannot have been acting right during the week, you know?
No, not a chance.
There's no way. So
I have to win each of the tracks once in the story mode. I have to seduce all of the people. We do get to be rapists.
Oh, thank goodness.
We have to scare Ansem and become a tutor, mentor. I don't know.
The Dolphins announced Monday that Tagovailoa will be out for Sunday's game against the Jets.
Oh, thank God! Thank God
Jesus. And there were so many people who tweeted ahead of Thursday's game that there was no way they would field him after that hit.
Yeah, because there was no chance that they should have. And then it was awful.
There's no reason to. It's terrible. Terrible. I mean, fucking cancel the NFL. For real. If they're not going to... I'm not saying every sport has to be safe. I'm not asking for boxing to be canceled.
No.
But you have got to make accommodations to lower the risk as much as you reasonably can. And I think the NFL does not do that. They are negligent for sure.
Yes. The situation was unacceptable and is among the reasons why I can't be engaged with the NFL anymore. It's not even... This is particularly egregious. And how it happened is particularly bad, and the result was very awful as well. And it's a very high-profile one, because this was on a national game, too. This is a Thursday night game. So he had even less time to recover. It was like, with the 2 extra days, 3 days?
5 days.
Maybe the 3 extra days would have been enough for this one to happen.
5 days if you include the day it happened and the day he played.
Right, which is...
So really only 3 days of rest.
Incredibly limited amount of time.
Yeah, and I guess for a concussion, you need 2 weeks minimum before the brain has any kind of, has to do any real work, has to expend any, large amount of energy, right? So you're supposed to essentially rest for 2 weeks. And if during that window you are injured again, that is when the injuries are catastrophic, sometimes fatal,
in a lot of ways, we're lucky this wasn't fatal. It had everything that it needed to have been fatal.
So, I don't know. Yeah, they gotta go. They gotta go.
As long as they're making money, though. And somebody else is going to throw their life on the line for the money. So you got to get the money out of there.
A comment on a story today where someone said 3 years ago I switched to watching rugby because I couldn't take it anymore. Watching them do this, kind of like you,